Before we begin the story, let us know where you're watching from by leaving a comment below. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story. Ethan Parker was bored. Even though he was at the most exclusive party in town, surrounded by wealthy, admiring women, he tried to hide his impatience as he listened to empty conversations about luxury trips and rare jewelry. He was about to come up with an excuse to leave when something unexpected happened. From across the room, an outraged scream cut through the air. What the hell? All eyes turned toward the entrance. A distinguished man in a spotless white suit, one of the most powerful bankers in the city, was now completely drenched in red juice. And right in front of him stood a simple young woman holding a delivery bag from Taste of Roots restaurant, her eyes wide open, as if she had just accidentally set off an explosion. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there," she stammered, panicked, trying to wipe his shirt with a napkin. The whole room burst into laughter. Who let someone like that in here? She's probably never even seen a suit up close. What a disaster. Maya felt her face burn with embarrassment. "I was just delivering an order. The app sent me to the wrong address." The banker, still trying to save his shirt, huffed in anger. "Get this girl out of here now." Before Maya could react, a security guard appeared and grabbed her arm. "You don't belong here," he said coldly. She tried to pull away, but he was too strong. "Wait, I was just making a delivery. I'm not trespassing." That's when Ethan stepped in. "Let her go." The guard froze. The guests exchanged shocked glances. The banker frowned. "Ethan, don't tell me you're defending this girl." But Ethan completely ignored the man's outrage and walked up to Maya, crossing his arms. "What's your name?" he asked. "And why are you here?" Maya swallowed hard, still unable to believe that the richest man in the city was speaking to her. "I'm Maya," she said hesitantly. "I work at Taste of Roots restaurant and do deliveries, but the app sent me to the wrong place." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Wait, is that the restaurant that delivers yakisoba?" Maya blinked, confused. "Yes. How do you know?" That's when Ethan smiled for the first time that night. "So you're the one who makes that amazing yakisoba?" Maya scratched the back of her head. "Well, it's my grandmother's secret recipe. I just helped prepare it." Ethan rubbed his chin, thinking, "That's perfect. I need a cook." Maya froze. "What?" The guests gasped in unison. The banker's eyes widened. "Ethan, you can't be serious." But Ethan didn't care at all. "I'll pay you 3 times what you make as a delivery driver." Maya almost choked on her own breath. 3 times more? Yes. She was still in shock. That was a lot of money, but she couldn't just leave her grandmother alone at the restaurant. Maya thought quickly. If she was going to do this, it had to be worth it. So, crossing her arms, she blurted out without thinking, 5 times more. The guests widened their eyes. The banker, still trying to save his shirt, nearly had a heart attack. Ethan raised an eyebrow, surprised. "You're pretty demanding. I have bills to pay." He smiled, amused. 4 times. 4.5. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Do you always negotiate like this?" "Only when I'm in trouble." The entire room was in complete shock. The banker huffed in frustration. "Ethan, are you really hiring this girl?" But Ethan just kept looking at Maya. Then he smirked. "Deal." Maya's eyes widened. "What?" "You start tomorrow." The room erupted in whispers and laughter. Maya looked at Ethan, then at her stained apron, then at the wealthy people around her. What just happened? She had only come to make a delivery, and now she had a new job, and the worst part? She was working for a completely unpredictable billionaire CEO. What could possibly go wrong? The next morning, Maya woke up still unable to believe what had happened the night before. She blinked a few times, trying to gather her thoughts. Did I really agree to work for a billionaire CEO? Her grandmother's voice came from the other side of the door. "Maya, dear, breakfast is ready." Maya took a deep breath, got up, and stepped out of her room. In the small kitchen of the Taste of Roots restaurant, her grandmother was already finishing up frying the spring rolls for the first deliveries of the day. "So, how was that big party?" the older woman asked, not even turning around to look at her. Maya grabbed a cup of coffee and sat down at the table. "Oh, it was great. I caused a little disaster. Spilled juice all over a banker. Almost got kicked out. And well, now I work for Ethan Parker." Her grandmother froze mid-motion, holding the spatula in the air. "What?" I know it sounds crazy, but he offered me 5 times what I make here. And, well, I accepted, but only part-time." Her grandmother went back to stirring the spring rolls in the pan, deep in thought. "And do you trust this man?" Maya shrugged. "He eats our yakisoba every week. If he were dangerous, he would have tried to kidnap me by now." The older woman chuckled and shook her head. "Well then, go ahead, but if he gives you trouble, let me know, and I'll handle him." Maya quickly finished her coffee and stood up. "Wish me luck that I don't break anything on my first day." The Parker Enterprises building was even more intimidating up close. As she stepped inside, Maya felt the blast of cold air from the AC and saw dozens of employees in suits and high heels rushing around, talking on the phone or typing on expensive tablets. She adjusted her apron, feeling completely out of place. A well-dressed receptionist looked at her with a neutral expression. "Can I help you? I'm Maya, Ethan's new cook." The woman blinked slowly, as if trying to figure out whether this was some kind of joke. After a brief, uncomfortable silence, she picked up the phone and dialed quickly. "Mr. Parker, your new cook is here." Maya heard a muffled response on the other end, and the receptionist pointed toward the elevator, top floor. Maya took a deep breath and stepped inside, her stomach twisting with nerves. When the doors opened, she found something completely different from what she had expected. Ethan's private kitchen wasn't just a kitchen, it was a masterpiece, with marble countertops, glass shelves, and a huge island in the center. And, of course, Ethan was there, leaning against the counter with his arms crossed, waiting for her. "Took you long enough. I got lost 3 times on the way, but I made it." He chuckled and gestured toward the ingredients on the counter. "Good. Let's see if you actually know how to cook. You didn't test that before hiring me?" "No. That sounds like a bad business decision." "It might be, but if it's terrible, I'll just fire you and move on." Maya narrowed her eyes. "Was that a challenge? You can take it that way." She rolled up her sleeves. "All right, let's see who loses here." Maya grabbed the ingredients and started cooking a simple yakisoba, just the way her grandmother had taught her. She could feel Ethan watching her the entire time, which made her a little nervous. "You're staring too much," she muttered as she stirred the vegetables. "I'm studying the process. I can't tell if I'm a cook or an animal at the zoo." He smirked. "Just making sure my food will be edible." Maya rolled her eyes and focused, but soon a problem came up. She had been so caught up in the conversation that she added way too much soy sauce. The salty smell filled the air, and she felt a wave of panic. "Oh no. What?" "Nothing." She quickly tried to fix it, but the damage was already done. Ethan grabbed a plate, served himself a portion, and picked up a pair of chopsticks. He took a bite, chewed slowly, and then frowned. Maya held her breath. "Well?" Ethan looked at her and paused dramatically. "Have you ever been to the ocean?" "Yes. Why?" "Because this has about the same amount of salt." Maya groaned. "Great first day, and I already ruined everything." Ethan set the chopsticks down. "It's a rookie mistake, but honestly, it's still better than a lot of things I've eaten." Maya crossed her arms. "So that means I passed the test?" He laughed. "Yes, but with one condition. Don't poison me. No promises." A short time later, as Maya was cleaning the counter, someone walked into the kitchen without knocking. A man in a suit with a stern expression. "Mr. Parker, can we talk?" Ethan sighed. "Maya, finish up here and meet me in my office." She nodded and watched the two leave. Alone in the kitchen, Maya started wondering what had just happened. In less than 24 hours, she had gone from a normal life to working at Parker Enterprises, cooking for a wealthy and arrogant businessman, and negotiating her salary like a seasoned professional. And now she had the feeling this was just the beginning. Maya finished cleaning the kitchen and looked around. The place was spotless, and she felt a small sense of pride. If someone had told her that, within a day, she would be cooking in a billionaire's office, she would have laughed, but now she was here. She dried her hands on her apron and walked down the long hallway toward Ethan's office. When she arrived, she stopped in front of the slightly open door. Inside, Ethan was leaning against his desk, arms crossed, while the man in the suit spoke in a serious tone. "This is not the right time for distractions, Ethan. You need to stay focused on the merger with Sterling Group. You can't afford to waste time hiring street cooks." Maya narrowed her eyes. "Street cook?" She pushed the door open and stepped inside without hesitation. "If I'm a street cook, then you're just an office executive. It's the same thing." The man turned to her, surprised by the interruption. "And you are?" "Your boss's personal chef." Ethan hid a smile and turned toward her. "Maya, this is Nathan, my financial advisor." Maya looked him up and down. "Nathan, huh? Nice. Now you can stop calling me a street cook. Nathan scoffed and turned back to Ethan. Are you really taking this seriously? Ethan shrugged. Her food is better than any 5-star restaurant around here. Maya lifted her chin. Nathan crossed his arms. Fine, then why don't you introduce this chef to your business partners? Let's see if she's really as good as you claim. Maya blinked. What? Ethan looked at her, considering the idea. You know, that's not a bad suggestion. Maya's eyes widened. Wait, what? Nathan smiled, satisfied. Tomorrow night, Ethan has a business dinner. Why don't you cook for the investors? If you're as good as he says, everyone will be impressed. If not, I still get paid either way, Maya interrupted without missing a beat. Ethan laughed. She's got a point. Nathan narrowed his eyes. Then it settled. Maya crossed her arms. And do I get to choose the menu? Nathan hesitated. Well, usually these dinners have more sophisticated dishes. I was hired because my food is good, not because I follow rules. Ethan looked at Nathan. I like that. Nathan sighed. Just don't make anyone sick. No promises, Maya replied with a smile. The next morning, Maya arrived early at the Parker Enterprises building, carrying a basket full of ingredients. Ethan found her in the kitchen and glanced at the bags. How many people are you planning to feed? 6 investors, and you so technically 7, but it's always good to have extra food. Ethan grabbed an apple from the basket and took a bite. So, what's on the menu? Maya leaned on the counter. I thought of something simple, but memorable. That sounds like you. We'll start with shrimp fritters, then special fried rice, sweet and sour beef, and yakisoba. Ethan raised an eyebrow. You're serving yakisoba to millionaires. Maya lifted her chin. They're going to love it. Ethan chuckled and took another bite of the apple. You're stubborn, and I'm good at what I do. Night fell, bringing the business dinner with it. Maya was in the kitchen, focused on preparing the dishes, when she heard the first guests arriving. She peeked through the glass and saw elegantly dressed men and women speaking in hushed tones. Nathan was among them, and when he glanced toward the kitchen, he gave a smug little smile. Maya rolled her eyes. Ethan appeared beside her. Nervous? Me? Maya raised an eyebrow. Never. He laughed. We'll see. The dinner began, and the dishes started making their way out. First the golden, crispy shrimp fritters, then the fried rice with fresh vegetables and herbs. The sweet and sour beef arrived, fragrant and glistening, and finally the steaming yakisoba with handmade noodles and perfectly sautéed vegetables. At first, the guests tasted the food with neutral expressions. Maya watched discreetly, her heart pounding. Then the magic happened. The first smiles appeared. Glances were exchanged. Someone cleared their throat and looked at Ethan. This is surprising. Another investor nodded. I've never had yakisoba this good. Nathan looked like he had swallowed a lemon. Ethan glanced at Maya from across the room and smiled. I told you. Maya blinked, surprised. She hadn't just impressed those people she had won. And for the first time, she realized that this new job might be more interesting than she had imagined. The success of the business dinner was still on Maya's mind when she arrived for another day at Parker Enterprises. The investors' feedback had been a mix of surprise and delight. She had proven that even simple food could win over anyone. The problem was that now the company's employees seemed to have noticed her too. As she entered the building, she felt several eyes on her. Whispers filled the hallways. So, this is the mysterious cook? How did someone like her get in here? I heard Mr. Parker is interested in her. Maya widened her eyes. Interested? What a ridiculous idea. She quickened her pace, gripping the handle of her shopping bag tightly. She needed to focus on her work, not on gossip. But as soon as she stepped into Ethan's private kitchen, something caught her attention. The countertops were covered with takeout boxes from high-end restaurants, elegant, delicately plated dishes spread across the table. Ethan, standing by the counter, held a fork and looked at the food as if he were being forced to eat sand. Maya set down her bag and crossed her arms. What's going on here? Ethan sighed and put the fork down. Nathan insisted I try food from some of the best chefs in town to refine my palate. Maya picked up one of the box lids and read the restaurant's name, LeBlanc. Oh yes, the place that charges $500 for a tiny dish that looks like table decor. She glanced at the plates and frowned. This doesn't look like food, it looks like modern art. Ethan chuckled. Finally, someone who agrees with me. She picked up a fork and stabbed a piece of meat delicately decorated with a gold leaf. She tasted it and made a face. This tastes like seasoned cardboard. Ethan let out a laugh. Exactly. Maya looked at him, then at the luxurious food boxes, narrowing her eyes. You already had good food here, and you let all of this go to waste just to try gourmet dishes? Blame Nathan. He wants me to refine my taste. Maya rolled her eyes and started unpacking the bag she had brought. Well, if it's refined taste he wants, I'll show him what real food is. Ethan watched as she began preparing a plate of fried rice with chicken and a special sauce. You're cooking just to prove a point, aren't you? She smiled. Always. Soon, the smell of fresh food filled the kitchen. Ethan, still seated at the counter, watched closely as Maya finished the dish. When she placed the bowl in front of him, he didn't hesitate. He picked up the chopsticks and took the first bite. His eyes closed for a moment, and he sighed. This is good. Maya crossed her arms, satisfied. Better than the expensive dishes? Ethan smiled playfully. No comparison. But before Maya could respond, the kitchen door opened, and a blonde woman in a tailored suit walked in as if she owned the place. Ethan, darling, I've been looking for you. She stopped when she noticed Maya and raised an eyebrow. Who is this? Ethan took another bite of his fried rice without even looking at the woman. Maya, my personal chef. The blonde woman laughed dramatically. A chef? What do you mean? You've never needed a chef. Maya noticed the way the woman looked at her, that typical glance of someone assessing whether she belonged there. Well, now he does, Maya replied with a sly smile. The blonde seemed surprised by her boldness. Ethan sighed and pushed his plate aside. Maya, this is Samantha. She's your ex-girlfriend, Maya guessed. Samantha laughed again. Oh dear, I'm still very much a part of Ethan's life. Maya narrowed her eyes. Lucky you. Ethan just rubbed his temple, clearly tired. Samantha, what do you want? She smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. Dinner tonight at LeBlanc. Just like old times. Maya bit her lip to keep from laughing. Ethan sighed. I have a meeting then. Tomorrow. He looked at Maya, then at Samantha, and sighed again. I have my own chef now. I don't need to go out to eat. Samantha's smile faded for a moment, but she quickly recovered. Well, I hope your new chef is very talented, because I doubt anything can top dinner at LeBlanc. Maya leaned on the counter. If you'd like, I can prepare something special for you. Samantha looked her up and down. Oh dear, I doubt you're capable of that. Maya smiled sweetly. There's only one way to find out. Ethan held back a smile as Samantha gave him a sharp look. See you later, Ethan. And with that, she walked out of the kitchen, leaving behind a strong scent of expensive perfume. Maya turned to Ethan. Has she always been like this? Worse. Then good luck. Ethan chuckled and went back to his meal. Thanks, I'll need it. Maya took a sip of juice and leaned against the counter, watching Ethan as he finished eating. She still didn't quite understand him. He was a billionaire surrounded by opportunistic people, living in a world completely different from hers, but somehow he seemed normal. And that was a problem, because the more normal he seemed, the more Maya felt she needed to keep her guard up. It was better not to get attached. This was just a job, or at least that's what she kept telling herself. The next day, Maya arrived at Ethan's office feeling strangely at ease. In just a few days, she had already adapted to the peculiar routine of cooking for an eccentric billionaire and dealing with the wary looks of the staff. But what she didn't expect was to find Ethan and Nathan in the middle of a heated discussion so early in the morning. This is ridiculous, Ethan, Nathan exclaimed, slamming his hand on the desk. Sounds like a great challenge to me, Ethan replied with a half smile, crossing his arms. Maya stopped at the doorway, holding a bag of fresh ingredients. Am I interrupting something important? Nathan sighed and ran a hand over his face, clearly frustrated. Tell him yourself that this idea is ridiculous. Maya frowned and looked at Ethan. What is it now? Ethan pointed to an open newspaper on the desk. The headline highlighted a charity food event featuring some of the city's top chefs. Nathan thinks I'm not capable of winning this cooking competition. Maya blinked in disbelief. You want to participate? Ethan gave a small smile. Why not? Nathan rolled his eyes. Because you're a CEO, not a chef. Maya crossed her arms and narrowed her eyes. Ethan, can you at least cook an egg? He tilted his head. I made instant noodles once. Nathan threw his hands up in exasperation. See, he doesn't stand a chance. Maya bit her lip to keep from laughing. Well, then I suggest he gets a good teacher. Ethan looked at her. Are you offering to teach me? She shrugged. If you promise not to burn down the kitchen. The next few days were pure chaos. Maya quickly discovered that Ethan Parker, the man responsible for billions of dollars in investments, was completely hopeless in the kitchen. On his first attempt at cooking a steak, he nearly set the pan on fire. "Why is there so much smoke?" he coughed, waving a hand in the air. "Because you turned the heat up too high," Maya exclaimed, grabbing the pan from him. On his second attempt, he tried chopping onions and ended up cutting his own finger. "Ouch! My God, you're a danger to yourself." For the third lesson, Maya decided to teach him something simple, a sandwich, but somehow even that went wrong. "You can't put half a jar of mayonnaise, Ethan." "But I like mayonnaise." Nathan, who occasionally checked in on their progress, always left shaking his head. This is going to be a total disaster. Maya, however, was determined. "He might be a disaster now, but he'll get better." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You have that much faith in me?" She smirked. "No, but I like a challenge." Finally, the day of the event arrived. The hall was filled with renowned chefs and influential business people. The press covered every detail, and the judges were eager to taste the competitors' dishes. Ethan wore a spotless apron and, despite his lack of experience, seemed surprisingly confident. Maya stayed behind the scenes, watching with a mix of apprehension and pride. Then the competition began. The participants had 1 hour to prepare an original dish. Ethan grabbed his ingredients with determination and started cooking. Maya held her breath. Was he still a disaster? Yes, but over the past few days, he had improved. She watched as he chopped the vegetables, still slow, but without injuring himself. She saw him prepare the sauce, focused and without wasting ingredients. And she saw when he plated the dish with precision, without overdoing the mayonnaise. When time was up, the dishes were presented to the judges. Maya bit her lip. The judges tasted each one, murmuring among themselves. Then they reached Ethan's dish. A silence filled the room as one of the judges picked up a fork and took a bite. The second judge did the same, and the third. Maya held her breath. Then one of the judges wiped his mouth and looked at Ethan. "Mr. Parker, I have to admit, the suspense in the room was almost unbearable. This is surprisingly delicious." Maya let out a breath of relief. Nathan, watching from a distance, widened his eyes. "But how?" The second judge nodded. "The balance of flavors, the texture truly impressive." Ethan gave a slight smile and glanced at Maya, who simply gave him a thumbs up. When the final results were announced, Ethan didn't win, but he came in second place, and for a CEO who had never cooked before, that was more than a victory. When the event was over, Ethan approached Maya with a satisfied smile. "So, teacher, did I do a good job?" She smiled. "I'd say you passed with flying colors." He stepped closer. "There's something I've been meaning to ask." Maya crossed her arms. "What is it?" Ethan tilted his head, thoughtful. "How about we open a restaurant together?" Maya blinked, surprised. "What?" He smiled. "I'm serious. Your food is amazing, and honestly, I'm starting to enjoy this." Maya looked at him, trying to figure out if he was joking, but from the gleam in Ethan's eyes, she realized he wasn't. And for the first time, she started to wonder, maybe this wasn't just the end of a challenge. Maybe it was the beginning of something much bigger. After the cooking event, Maya thought her life would go back to normal. But ever since Ethan had suggested opening a restaurant together, her mind wouldn't stop racing. A business partner with a billionaire? It sounded like a joke. But when she arrived at the office that morning, she realized Ethan wasn't joking. Right in the middle of the massive conference table was a stack of documents. "Good morning, cooking teacher," Ethan greeted with a sly smile. Maya looked at the papers and narrowed her eyes. "What's this?" Ethan crossed his arms. "Potential locations for the restaurant." Maya blinked. "Wait, you actually want to open a restaurant with me?" He pulled out a chair and sat down, tapping the papers lightly. "Not only do I want to, but I've already started looking for the best places." She let out a nervous laugh. "Ethan, this is crazy. I'm just a cook who learned to make good food from my grandmother." He shrugged. "And I'm just a billionaire who never cooked in his life and nearly set the kitchen on fire trying to fry a steak. Sounds like a good balance." Maya shook her head in disbelief. "You really have no idea what you're doing, do you?" Ethan smiled. "I just know that every great investment starts with a good plan, and I have one." She sighed and pulled up a chair, sitting next to him. "Okay, suppose I agree to this crazy idea. Where do you plan to open this restaurant?" Ethan opened one of the documents and pointed to the locations. "I have 3 options, one downtown, another in an upscale neighborhood, and a third near your village." Maya froze. "Near my village?" Ethan nodded. I thought it would be a great way to support your community, and honestly, homemade food has a strong appeal. She looked at him suspiciously. Was this your idea, or Nathan's? Ethan laughed. Mine. Nathan thinks it's a mistake to invest outside the commercial center, but I disagree. Maya bit her lip, thinking, is this serious? 100%. She was quiet for a moment, trying to organize her thoughts. It would be an incredible opportunity, but also a huge risk. Ethan noticed her hesitation and leaned his elbows on the table. What's holding you back? My grandmother, I don't want to leave her alone at the restaurant. Ethan tilted his head. Then bring her to the new restaurant. Maya's eyes widened. You make it sound so simple, isn't it? She's a great cook, you are too. It would be a family business. Maya was speechless. Ethan smiled. Come on, Maya, what do you have to lose? She took a deep breath. Fine, but I want half the decision-making power over the restaurant. Deal and no outrageous prices. I want it to be affordable for everyone. Ethan raised an eyebrow. You really know how to negotiate. Maya smiled. I learned from you. The first thing Maya did after leaving the office was rush home to tell her grandmother. When she arrived at the small kitchen of Taste of Roots, she found the old woman calmly folding aprons. Grandma, you won't believe this. The woman looked up and smiled. What is it, Maya? She pulled up a chair and sat down. Ethan wants to open a restaurant with me. Her grandmother blinked a few times, surprised. The billionaire you work for? Maya nodded excitedly. Yes, and he wants to open it near the village. The old woman smiled softly and kept folding the aprons. And do you want this? Maya was silent for a moment. I think so, but only if you come with me. Her grandmother chuckled. My dear, I'm too old to start a new restaurant, but I need you. This restaurant only exists because of you. Her grandmother took her hands. I'll always be here for you, Maya, but it's time for you to build your own story. Maya felt a tightness in her chest. Her grandmother was right, and for the first time, she realized that maybe she was ready. In the following days, Ethan and Maya started working on the restaurant project. The discussions were intense. I want affordable dishes, Maya insisted, but without compromising quality. Ethan countered. They were debating everything from the restaurant's name to the menu. How about taste of home? Ethan suggested. Maya frowned. Kind of generic. And what do you suggest? She thought for a moment and then smiled. Maya's hearth. Ethan thought it over and nodded. I like that. Slowly, everything started to take shape, but there was one detail no one expected. The night before signing the restaurant contract, Maya got an unexpected visit. Samantha. She showed up at the door of Taste of Roots with a sly smile. We need to talk. Maya crossed her arms. I don't have anything to say to you. Samantha walked in without being invited and looked around with disdain. So, this is where you work? Makes sense. Maya sighed. What do you want, Samantha? The blonde smiled and walked closer. I just want to warn you to be careful. Maya raised an eyebrow. Careful with what? Samantha fixed her hair and sighed dramatically. You might think Ethan is being generous, but men like him don't do anything without a hidden agenda. Maya clenched her fists. What are you implying? Samantha shrugged. I'm just saying that when he gets tired of this little game, he'll throw you away. Maya felt her blood boil. Funny, because it seems like he got tired of you first. Samantha turned red. We'll see how long you last, sweetheart. And with that, she left. Maya felt a tightness in her chest. She didn't want to believe anything Samantha said, but what if it was true? She couldn't fool herself. Ethan was a billionaire. She was just a simple cook. What if all of this was just a passing fancy for him? The next day, Maya walked into Ethan's office, determined to speak up, but before she could say a word, he was already signing the restaurant papers. Done. We're officially partners now. Maya swallowed hard. There was no turning back now. It would either work out perfectly, or it would go terribly wrong. After signing the contract, Maya found herself officially a partner with a billionaire, and as absurd as it seemed, she had a restaurant to open. But that didn't mean it would be easy. On the contrary, Ethan, with all his business experience, wanted everything to be perfect. We need a strong visual identity, he said, as he looked at logo options on his computer screen. Maya, sitting across from him, rested her face in her hands. Ethan, something that's sophisticated, but still feels welcoming, something modern, but with a rustic touch. Maya sighed. Ethan. He finally looked up. What? She crossed her arms. This is a restaurant, not a tech company. Ethan tilted his head. But branding is important. Maya rolled her eyes. More important than the food? He gave a sideways smile. Okay, let's focus on the food. But she barely had time to relax before Nathan walked into the room with a stack of papers. We've got a problem. Maya closed her eyes for a second. Of course we do. Ethan took the papers. What's happened now? Nathan sighed. The property we picked for the restaurant needs urgent repairs more than we expected. Maya widened her eyes. What? Nathan nodded. Electrical issues, leaks, and, well, let's just say there was a pigeon's nest inside the kitchen. Maya put her hands on her head. This can't be happening. Ethan flipped through the papers, thinking, we can fix this. It'll delay things a bit, but it's nothing impossible. Nathan crossed his arms. Only it's going to be expensive. Maya widened her eyes. How expensive? Nathan hesitated. Ethan, on the other hand, seemed indifferent. Don't worry about it. Maya slammed her hand on the table. Don't worry? Ethan, this isn't just your money. I'm your partner. I need to know. He stared at her for a few seconds, then grabbed a pen and scribbled a number on a piece of paper. Maya took the paper, looked at the number, and almost fell off her chair. Are you out of your mind? Ethan shrugged. It's a necessary investment. Maya slapped her forehead. A necessary investment, Ethan? With that money I could buy half the town. Nathan, who seemed to be enjoying the scene, just watched. Maya took a deep breath. What if we found another place? Ethan shook his head. This is the right place. He crossed his arms. Do you trust me? Maya froze. He asked it so seriously. She sighed. Fine, but if this restaurant goes bankrupt, I'll haunt you forever. Ethan laughed. Fair enough. In the following days, the restaurant became a construction site. Maya spent her days overseeing every detail. And Ethan, well, he tried to help. Ethan, know that paint is for the walls, not the counter. Are you sure? I think it would give it a modern touch. No. Nathan watched from afar, drinking coffee. You know, I really should bring a camera to record this. Ethan threw a paintbrush at him. And so the days passed until, finally, the restaurant began to take shape. When Maya walked into the finished space for the first time, her heart skipped a beat. It was real. She turned to Ethan, moved. This is amazing, he smiled. And this is just the beginning. The next challenge, hiring the team. Maya wanted people from the village people who really understood the flavor of homemade food. Ethan, on the other hand, insisted they needed a renowned chef. Maya, we need someone with experience. I have experience. Someone with qualifications. She put her hands on her hips. Oh sure, because a diploma teaches what my grandmother's been doing for 50 years? Ethan sighed. That's not what I meant. Maya crossed her arms. Then let me build my own team. He raised an eyebrow. You're that confident? She smiled. I'll prove I'm right. And so the search for staff began. Maya went straight to her village. Mr. Pedro, do you still cook that amazing beans? Mrs. Rosa, are you looking for a new job? You remember when you wanted to be a baker? I have a proposal. In just a few days, she had her team ready. When Ethan saw everyone gathered scratching their heads and trying to figure out how a billionaire and a village cook ended up as business partners, he couldn't help but smile. Maya tapped his shoulder. I bet you've never worked with such good people. Ethan smiled. We'll see if they can handle it. The opening day came faster than Maya expected. The whole town seemed to know about the new restaurant. Journalists were outside, ready to cover the event. Customers were lining up, and Maya, she was freaking out. The sauce isn't right. The rice is burned. Who put sugar in the soy sauce? Ethan walked into the kitchen and crossed his arms. What's going on? Maya ran her hand over her face. Chaos, that's what's happening. He laughed. Breathe. It's all under control. She looked at him, frustrated. How can you be so calm? Ethan grabbed her shoulders. Because you're the best cook I know. Maya stopped for a moment. She forgot about everything until first order. Ready. And so the opening began. The customers loved the food. There were so many compliments that Maya could hardly believe it. Ethan watched it all from a distance, satisfied. Nathan walked over to him. You really took a big gamble on this. Ethan smiled faintly. And it paid off. Nathan looked at Maya, who was laughing while serving a table. And it's not just about the restaurant, is it? Ethan turned his gaze. I don't know what you're talking about. Nathan laughed. Of course you don't. Hours later, the restaurant closed. Maya collapsed into a chair, exhausted. Ethan sat next to her. Did you survive? She sighed. Barely. He smiled. But you made it. The restaurant was officially up and running, and to Maya's surprise, it was packed every day. The lines wrapped around the corner, the orders kept coming, and the customers left satisfied. But that also meant she no longer had a life. "I'm dying." Maya flopped into a chair at the back of the kitchen after a long day. Ethan, who was relaxed and drinking coffee, looked at her and laughed. "You wanted this, remember?" She lifted her face, hair messy, apron stained, and pure exhaustion on her face. "I wanted a restaurant. I didn't want to become a zombie." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "The solution is simple." "What?" "Hire more people." Maya blinked. "What do you mean?" He crossed his arms. "I've already hired reinforcements." At that moment, the kitchen door opened, and 3 new employees walked in. Maya was stunned. "Who are you?" Ethan took another sip of his coffee. "Our new team." She stood up. "You hired new people without telling me?" Ethan smiled. "Consider it a gift." She put her hands on her hips. "Ethan, I'm your business partner. You can't make decisions on your own." He shrugged. "You were complaining about being tired. I solved the problem." Maya opened her mouth to argue but closed it because, deep down, he had a point. The new employees seemed capable, and she really needed help. "Fine, you won this one." Ethan smiled victoriously. As always, Maya rolled her eyes. "Don't get used to it." With the team strengthened, the restaurant became even more efficient, but with that came a new problem: fame. Before, it was just a simple restaurant. Now influencers were showing up, famous people were posting about the dishes, and suddenly Maya became a well-known figure. "I didn't ask for this," she shouted when she saw a video of her going viral online. Ethan, once again, seemed amused. "What happened now?" She pointed at her phone. "This video has over 1 million views." Ethan smiled. "Congratulations." She stared at him, frustrated. "It's not funny. I'm just a cook." He crossed his arms. "And now you're a famous cook." Maya massaged her temples. "I just wanted to cook, not become a celebrity." Ethan walked over, took her phone, and smiled. "You know what? This is a good thing. How's that?" He looked her in the eyes. "It means people love what you do." Maya opened her mouth to argue but stopped, because deep down, he was right. With the restaurant growing, things finally seemed to be falling into place until one day, Samantha came back. She walked into the restaurant like she owned the place, wearing sunglasses and high heels. "Good morning, darlings." Maya felt her stomach turn. Ethan, who was at the register, frowned. "What do you want, Samantha?" She smiled. "Just came to see how you guys are doing after all this success." Maya crossed her arms. "You never show up without a reason." Samantha sighed dramatically. "Well, since you mentioned it," she pulled a golden invitation out of her purse. "I'm organizing a special event, and I'd love for you to provide the catering." Maya blinked. "What?" Samantha smiled. "I know we've had our differences, but business is business, right?" Maya hesitated because, despite everything, it wasn't a bad idea, but she also felt that Samantha couldn't be trusted. She looked at Ethan. "What do you think?" He sighed. "I think it's risky to trust her." Samantha rolled her eyes. "For God's sake, Ethan, I'm offering you a golden opportunity." Maya hesitated a bit more, but in the end, "Okay, we'll do the catering." Samantha smiled triumphantly. "Great." Ethan crossed his arms. "If you try anything, relax. Darling, it's going to be a success." And with that, she left. Ethan looked at Maya. "Are you sure about this?" She took a deep breath. "I know she has hidden motives, but if this helps the restaurant grow, it's worth the risk." Ethan sighed. "You're braver than I thought." Maya smiled. "And you haven't seen anything yet." In the following days, Maya and her team worked hard to prepare the buffet for Samantha's event, but something didn't feel right. On the day of the event, when they arrived to set up the food, Maya noticed a worrying detail. The waiters seemed nervous. The organizers were avoiding eye contact with her, and then Ethan got a phone call. He answered and immediately turned pale. "What?" Maya turned to him. "What's going on?" Ethan looked at her, his eyes dark with anger. "Samantha set us up." Maya felt her heart race. "What do you mean?" Ethan took a deep breath. "She told all the guests that the food from our restaurant was made by another chef." Maya's eyes widened. "What?" "Basically, she's using our food, but claiming it was made by a competitor." Maya felt anger rise. "That snake!" Ethan nodded. "Everyone, stop serving now." The waiters exchanged glances. Maya huffed. "No, I'll handle this myself." Without thinking twice, she went up on stage, grabbed a microphone, and said loud and clear, "Good evening, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the dinner. I just wanted to clear something up." Samantha, who was at the back of the room, went pale. All this food, it was prepared by the restaurant Maya's Hearth, by me and my team. There was a general murmur. The guests looked at each other. Samantha tried to intervene. "This is a mistake," but Maya didn't give her a chance. "If anyone has doubts, feel free to come to the kitchen, and I'll cook a dish right here." The guests erupted in applause. Samantha shook with rage, and Ethan, he just smiled. This girl is amazing. That night, Maya and Ethan left the event victorious. Samantha had tried to pull the rug out from under them, but the one who ended up as the joke was her. And for the first time, Maya realized she and Ethan made a great team. The restaurant was getting even more famous after Samantha's fiasco at the event. The name Maya's Hearth was now everywhere in the newspapers and on social media. Maya could no longer walk through the city without someone recognizing her. "Hey, it's the chef from Maya's Hearth." A woman pointed at Maya in the market. "You have to teach me that recipe," another customer said excitedly. Maya, holding a bag full of ingredients, just smiled nervously and hurried to leave. Ethan, who was clearly enjoying himself, walked beside her with his hands in his pockets. "You're getting famous." "I didn't want to get famous," Maya grumbled, putting a tomato in the bag. "But it's too late now." She sighed. "This is your fault." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Mine?" Maya pointed at him. "You dragged me into this world of rich people, and now I'm stuck here." He laughed. "Did I drag you, or did you come willingly?" She opened her mouth to argue but closed it because deep down he was right. With the restaurant booming, Ethan decided it was time to take things further. "I want you to cook for a special dinner." Maya frowned. "What do you mean by special?" He smiled. "It's going to be a business dinner just for a few select people." Maya blinked. "I'm going to cook for more rich people, basically?" She sighed. "I don't know if my heart can take this anymore." Ethan laughed. "You'll be fine." The dinner was held at the top floor of a luxury hotel. Maya arrived carrying ingredients and immediately felt out of place. "I definitely don't belong in this world," she muttered to herself. But once she stepped into the kitchen, everything changed. That's where she felt at home. That's where she was herself. While she cooked, Ethan entertained the guests. The businessmen were impressed with the restaurant's growth. "You found a diamond in the rough, Ethan," one of them commented. "That girl has talent," another added. Ethan just smiled. "I know." When the dishes started being served, the guests fell silent. The first to speak was an older man with gray hair. "This is amazing." The others nodded. Maya, who was watching from a distance, felt warmth in her chest. She did it. However, not everything went as planned. When Maya returned to the kitchen, she saw something that shouldn't have been there. "What are you doing?" A waiter was holding a suspicious bottle and trying to pour something into the sauce. Maya ran over to him and stopped him right away. The man's eyes went wide, and he ran off. "Come back here," she shouted, but he was already gone. Maya looked at the bottle and shivered. Someone tried to sabotage the dinner. She ran to Ethan. "We need to talk." He noticed the seriousness in her voice and nodded. "What happened?" She showed him the bottle. "Someone tried to put this in the sauce." Ethan's eyes darkened. "Who?" Maya sighed. "I didn't see clearly, but he ran off as soon as he saw me." Ethan took a deep breath. "I'll take care of it." And for the first time, Maya saw something different in his eyes. He was genuinely furious. The dinner ended well, but Ethan wasn't at ease. He wanted to find out who was behind the sabotage. Maya, on the other hand, was exhausted. "I just want to sleep for a week." Ethan watched her for a moment and, without thinking, placed his hand over hers. "You did a great job today." She blushed. "Thank you," he smiled. "And now, I think we deserve a break." Maya laughed. "Finally, something sensible coming from you." The next day dawned with a strange energy in the air. Maya arrived early at the restaurant, still feeling the weight of what happened at the dinner the night before. She couldn't stop thinking about the fact that someone had tried to sabotage the food. What if she hadn't seen it in time? If that dinner had been ruined, the restaurant could have been discredited, and everything she and Ethan had worked for would have gone down the drain. This can't happen again. She walked into the kitchen and started organizing things, but before she could get to work, Ethan appeared. "We need to talk." Maya, still messing with the ingredients, sighed. "If this is about last night's dinner, I'm already stressed enough." Ethan crossed his arms. "I know, but there's something you need to know." Maya frowned. What is it? He pulled his phone from his pocket and turned the screen toward her. Maya felt her stomach drop. What is this? On the screen, there was a bombshell headline. Successful restaurant owner involved in fraud scandal. Rumors indicate head chef is nothing but a fraud. Maya's face was in the photo. Her eyes widened. But who wrote this? Ethan took a deep breath. I'm investigating, but it seems someone is trying to bring us down. Maya felt her head spin. First they tried to sabotage the food, and now this? Ethan nodded. I knew our growth would upset some competitors, but this is going too far. Maya clenched her fists. This is ridiculous. I work harder in this restaurant than anyone. How can they say I'm a fraud? Ethan sighed. I'll take care of it. How? He looked at her firmly. By giving this person exactly what they want. Maya blinked. Are you crazy? Trust me. Maya crossed her arms. I trust you, but if this plan fails, you'll wash all the dishes in the restaurant for a month. Ethan smiled. Deal. In the following days, Ethan did the unthinkable. He announced an open event where anyone could come to the restaurant and watch Maya cook live. Are you sure about this? She asked, nervous. Ethan nodded. If they want to question your skills, we'll show them they're wrong. Maya bit her lip. This could go really wrong. Ethan smiled. Or it could go really right. On the day of the event, the restaurant was packed journalists, influencers, old and new customers. Everyone was there to see if Maya really knew how to cook or if she was a fraud. Maya was nervous, but Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Just do what you always do. She took a deep breath and headed to the kitchen. What happened next was a masterpiece. Maya cooked with passion. Every dish came out flawless, and the customers were impressed by how easily she created new flavors. When the event ended, all the journalists were praising her skills. She's really talented. The food is amazing. Definitely not a fraud. Ethan smiled, satisfied. I told you. Maya, exhausted, sat down in a chair and let out a sigh of relief. That was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Ethan laughed. But it was worth it. Maya smiled. It really was. After the demonstration event, Maya became a true sensation in town. Maya's hearth was always packed, and her name was all over food blogs. But Maya knew that in the business world, not everything was smooth sailing. This is moving too fast, Ethan. She and Ethan were in the kitchen while the staff organized the orders. And isn't that a good thing? He asked, crossing his arms. Maya sighed, mixing the yakisoba sauce. It is, but I feel like I don't know, something bad is going to happen. Ethan let out a laugh. You're being paranoid. Maybe, but ever since that guy tried to sabotage the dinner, I haven't been able to relax. Ethan grew serious. If that's true, I'll find out who's behind this. Maya looked at him and sighed. Be careful not to get too involved. Ethan gave her a half smile. Too late for that. That night, Ethan went to one of his trusted contacts, Gabriel Ortiz, a private investigator. I need information on who's trying to destroy the restaurant. Gabriel raised an eyebrow. And why are you so interested in this? Ethan hesitated for a moment, then said, because it's affecting me too. Gabriel smiled. All right, I'll see what I can find out. 2 days later, the call came. Ethan, I found out who's behind this. He answered the phone right away. Go ahead, Samantha. Ethan scowled. Of course it's her. She couldn't accept the humiliation from the last event, and now she has a bigger plan. Ethan felt his stomach churn. What is she planning? Gabriel sighed. She's trying to buy the restaurant. Ethan went silent for a moment, then murmured, she's lost her mind. Maya was cleaning the kitchen when Ethan came in with a grim expression. We need to talk. She looked up at him. This is never good. Samantha is trying to buy the restaurant. Maya froze. What? She wants to take you down, and the best way to do that is by taking the restaurant away from you. Maya felt anger rise. She'll never succeed. Ethan smiled. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. But deep down, he knew Samantha wasn't going to give up that easily. The next morning, Maya received an outrageous proposal. A man in a suit appeared at the restaurant, handing her a contract. Miss Samantha wants to purchase this restaurant for a generous price. Maya took the paper and looked at the numbers. Is she kidding me? The man adjusted his glasses. No, miss, she believes this is a fair offer. Maya tore up the contract. Tell her I'm not for sale. The man stood still for a moment, then picked up the pieces of paper and left. Ethan showed up shortly after. What did he want? Maya crossed her arms. Samantha tried to buy me out. Ethan smiled. And what did you do? Maya lifted her chin. What do you think? He laughed. You surprise me more every day." But Samantha didn't give up. The next day, another bombshell news story broke. Maya's hearth closed due to sanitary violations. Maya felt her heart drop. This can't be real. Ethan knew it was a setup. She wants the restaurant to close. Maya refused to accept it. "Then we'll fight." Ethan smiled. "Now you're speaking my language." The impact hit like a bomb. Maya kept staring at the headline as if she expected the words to disappear from the screen. Maya's hearth closed due to sanitary violations. "This is ridiculous," she exclaimed, throwing her phone on the table. "The restaurant has passed every inspection." Ethan, standing next to her, looked over the official documents sent by the inspectors. "This is a setup. Samantha must have bribed someone." Maya felt her blood boil. "She wants to destroy everything we've built." Ethan crossed his arms, deep in thought. If she wants a war, then she'll get one. The next morning, Maya and Ethan went straight to the health inspection office. Once there, they were greeted by a man in a gray suit with a monotone expression. "Miss Maya, Mr. Parker, I'm sorry to inform you, but Maya's hearth is closed until further notice." Maya leaned over the desk, furious. "Based on what?" The man flipped through a report. Evidence of expired products, lack of cleanliness in the kitchen, and a pest infestation were found. "That's a lie." Maya slammed her hand on the table. Ethan stepped in, staying calm. "We want to see the evidence." The inspector sighed and pushed some photos toward them. Maya picked up the pictures and felt her stomach churn. Shelves full of expired products, pots with dirt residue, and, to make matters worse, a photo of a cockroach in the corner of the pantry. "This can't be," Maya whispered. Ethan took the photos and studied them one by one. "These images are forged." The inspector raised his eyebrows. "How can you be sure?" Ethan pointed to a detail in the pantry photo. "This brand of seasoning hasn't been on the market for 2 years." The inspector hesitated. Maya stood up. "This proves that someone planted this evidence to frame us." The man sighed. "Still, the complaint has been filed. If you want to reverse the decision, you'll need a new inspection." "Then do a new inspection now," Maya demanded. The inspector shook his head. "Unfortunately, there's a bureaucratic process. The new inspection won't be able to happen for another 2 weeks." Maya's eyes widened. 2 weeks? Ethan clenched his fists. This isn't a coincidence. Samantha is pulling the strings. Maya felt a lump in her throat. 2 weeks with the restaurant closed meant lost customers, financial loss, and, worse, damage to the reputation that might be irreversible. But then an idea crossed her mind. She looked at Ethan. "If we can't open the restaurant, then let's bring the restaurant to the customers." The next morning, Maya and Ethan were in the kitchen, preparing special takeout meals. "If we can't have people come to us, we'll bring the food to them." Ethan smiled. "I like the way you think." They mobilized the entire restaurant team in just a few hours. An improvised delivery system was set up. "Let's post this on social media," Maya said, grabbing her phone. Ethan grabbed his own phone and quickly typed something. Soon after the post went live, "Maya's hearth may be closed, but our food still comes to you. Order now and enjoy homemade flavors wherever you are." The customers went wild. "Do you think this will work?" Maya asked anxiously. Ethan smiled. "Do you doubt me?" "Always." "Then you're going to be surprised." And it worked. The orders kept coming in. In just a few hours, the kitchen was a complete mess in the best possible way. Maya and the team ran back and forth packing orders, organizing deliveries, and making sure everything was perfect. "We're overwhelmed," one of the employees exclaimed. "Is that a problem or a solution?" Maya responded, laughing. The truth was, despite the chaos, the plan was working. But Samantha wasn't going to let it go. That same night, a new headline appeared. "Closed restaurant continues to operate illegally." Maya held her phone and sighed in anger. "This woman has no limits." Ethan grabbed her phone. "Let me handle this." He called Gabriel, the private investigator. "Find out how Samantha is getting this information and let me know." Maya crossed her arms. "She has someone infiltrated." Ethan nodded. "And we'll find out who it is." The next morning, one of the restaurant employees was caught red-handed taking secret photos. Maya stormed out of the kitchen, furious. "What are you doing?" The man swallowed hard, hiding his phone. Ethan grabbed the device from his hand and saw the messages exchanged with Samantha. "Gotcha." The employee tried to run, but Ethan blocked the exit. "Speak now, or we'll take this to the police." The man hesitated and then confessed everything. "Samantha paid me to pass on information." She wanted to know what you were doing and sabotage your plans. Maya closed her eyes, trying to control her anger. Ethan stared at the man. Grab your things and get out. The man ran off. Maya turned to Ethan. This means Samantha already knows we're fighting back. Ethan nodded. And now that we know the truth, it's time to strike back. Ethan picked up the phone and made a call. Hey, I need a favor. On the other end, Gabriel replied. What do you have in mind? Ethan smiled. It's time to expose Samantha. The next day, a new article appeared online. Businesswoman involved in sabotage scheme against rival restaurant. The article contained all the proof of Samantha's manipulation messages, bank transactions, bribes. Samantha was caught in her own game. By the end of the afternoon, Maya and Ethan were called to a meeting with the regulatory agency. With this new information, we'll reopen Maya's hearth immediately. Maya felt her eyes fill with tears. Really? The inspector smiled. Really? Maya looked at Ethan and, without thinking, hugged him tightly. He was surprised but quickly hugged her back. We did it. That night, the restaurant reopened with a line of customers outside. Maya looked at it and smiled. This is unbelievable. Ethan put his hands in his pockets. No, this is the result of your work. She looked at him. He looked back at her. For a moment, everything was silent until Maya let out a nervous laugh. If you think this means you get to eat for free, you're wrong, Ethan laughed. You really are impossible. But deep down, he knew he was completely smitten with her. The reopening of Maya's hearth was a huge success. Since the early hours of the day, loyal and curious customers had formed a line that stretched down the sidewalk, eager to try the dishes that had become the talk of the town. Inside the kitchen, Maya ran everything with precision, but also with a smile on her face. For the first time in weeks, she felt in control. Ethan, on the other hand, watched everything from a distance, with an expression the staff couldn't figure out. He's acting strange, one of the cooks commented. Maybe he's in love with the boss, another joked, laughing. Or maybe he's just planning something. And indeed he was. That night, Ethan waited until all the customers had left, and the staff finished their tasks before speaking with Maya. She was in the kitchen cleaning a counter when she felt someone approaching. I need to talk to you. She looked at Ethan and raised an eyebrow. If this is about a new investment, can I decline now or later? He laughed, crossing his arms. This time, it's not about business. Maya dried her hands on her apron and leaned against the counter. So, what is it? Ethan took a deep breath. I want to take you out to dinner. She blinked a few times. Dinner? Like, outside the restaurant? Yes. Maya tilted her head, suspicious. You've never invited me to dinner before. There's always a first time. She stared at him for a few seconds, trying to figure out what his game was, but something in the way he looked at her, the firmness in his voice, made it seem like this wasn't just a dinner. Maya took a deep breath and, against all expectations, replied, Okay. The restaurant they chose was one of the most luxurious in the city. Maya looked around, nervous. I feel like I'm being analyzed. Ethan smiled. You are, but ignore it. She rolled her eyes. Easy for you to say you were born in this environment. He tilted his head. And where would you prefer? Maya thought for a moment. I prefer places where I can be myself, where no one cares if my clothes have flour on them, or if my hands smell like spices. Ethan stayed silent for a few seconds. You know, I like that about you. Maya felt her face heat up. What? How you don't try to fit in, how you're not afraid to be who you are. She let out a nervous laugh. If that's a compliment, I'm taking note. They don't happen often. Ethan laughed, picking up his wine glass. Then you should take more notes, because I still have plenty more to give you. Maya felt her heart race. Why was he speaking like this? And more importantly, why did it make her feel things she shouldn't feel? The dinner went well, too well. They talked as if nothing else mattered, as if the whole world was just that moment. But everything fell apart when they were leaving the restaurant. Across the street, a group of journalists was waiting for them, camera flashes, microphones, and sharp questions. Mr. Parker, is Miss Maya your new girlfriend? Was this dinner a romantic date? Does this mean you're no longer interested in women from high society? Maya froze. Ethan kept his composure, but his eyes turned cold. He put his arm around Maya's waist and quickly guided her to the car. Ignore them. But it was impossible to ignore. They were the center of attention in the city. And now, there was no turning back. The next morning, the internet exploded. CEO Ethan Parker caught on romantic dinner with village girl. Maya nearly had a panic attack when she saw it. Text messages from clients, friends, and even strangers flooded her phone. Is this true? Are you dating? When did this happen? She threw her phone on the table and ran her hands over her face. This is a nightmare. And then the phone rang. She answered without thinking. Maya? It was her grandmother. Grandma, I can explain. Are you seeing that man? No, I mean yes, but it's not like they're saying, then what is it like? Maya didn't know how to respond. And it was at that moment that someone knocked on the door. She turned and saw Ethan. She felt like the day was about to get even worse. Ethan crossed his arms. Did you see the news? Maya sighed. Of course I saw. My phone won't stop. My grandma is about to strangle me. He sighed. I'm sorry. Sorry? This is ruining my reputation. He raised an eyebrow. Your reputation or your heart? Maya froze. What? Because I think you're more scared of what you're feeling than what other people will think. She was speechless. And then he stepped closer. I like you, Maya. I think you like me too. She felt the world spin. Ethan, you don't have to answer now, but I want you to think about it. Maya didn't know what to think. All she knew was that her heart was a complete mess. That night, she couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned in bed, stared at the ceiling, tried to ignore the confusion inside her, but it didn't help. She was lost, and worse, maybe she was in love. Maya stayed up all night. No matter how hard she tried to push the thoughts away, Ethan was on her mind, every word he said, every look he gave her, every moment he treated her like she was special. She wanted to deny it, to believe it was all just a game, but it was real. And the worst part? She liked it, but admitting that out loud seemed too scary. The next morning, Maya decided to focus on work. She arrived at the restaurant earlier than usual, determined to occupy her mind with anything that didn't involve Ethan Parker and his intense stares. But fate wasn't planning to leave her in peace. As soon as she walked into the kitchen, she saw a white envelope on the counter, her name handwritten on it. With her heart racing, she opened the envelope and found a note. Don't run away. We need to talk. I'll be waiting for you at the Grand Imperial Hotel at 7 p.m. Ethan. Maya felt a flutter in her stomach. He wanted to talk about what? And more importantly, should she go? The day passed too quickly, and before she knew it, it was almost night. Maya stared at herself in the mirror, unsure. Part of her wanted to completely ignore that note. The other part, however, already knew she was going, no matter what. At 7:00 p.m. sharp, Maya arrived at the Grand Imperial Hotel. She entered the luxurious hall and looked around, feeling a little out of place. Then she saw Ethan. He was standing by a reserved table, wearing a perfectly tailored suit with a serious yet kind look on his face. Maya took a deep breath and walked over to him. You came. I still haven't decided if it was a mistake. Ethan smiled faintly. So sit down and find out. She rolled her eyes, but sat down. The waiter served 2 glasses of wine, and Maya noticed that Ethan seemed nervous. That was rare. What's wrong? She asked. He took a sip of his wine before speaking. I want to make you an offer. Maya frowned. If it's another job offer, I want you to be with me. The world stopped. Maya blinked, thinking she had heard wrong. What? Ethan looked directly into her eyes. I like you. Maya, and I don't want to pretend I don't anymore. Her heart beat faster. Ethan, this doesn't make sense. It makes all the sense in the world. You affect me in a way no one else ever has. I don't care about where you come from. I don't care about what people say. I only care about what we have. Maya felt her emotions taking over. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to accept. But the fear, I'm not like the women you know. I don't know how to live in your world. Ethan took her hand across the table. I don't want you to change. I want you just the way you are. Maya felt her eyes burn. You can't promise that. Then give me a chance to prove it. She stayed silent, her heart racing. The world around her seemed distant. And then, without thinking, she cupped his face and kissed him a kiss filled with everything that had been held back. And in that moment, everything made sense. The following days were a whirlwind. The news that Ethan and Maya were together exploded in the media. There were speculations, gossip, people rooting against them, but none of that mattered. They were happy, and when Maya finally stopped to think, she realized that she had never been this happy in her entire life. Months later, Ethan took her out for a special dinner, a dinner even more special than the others. And when the clock struck midnight, he knelt before her, holding a velvet box. Marry me. Maya's heart nearly jumped out of her chest. What? Ethan smiled. I know you never planned for this, I know marriage was never part of your plans, but I also know I can't imagine my life without you." Tears began to fall from her eyes. "Ethan, I love you. Maya and I want to spend the rest of my life with you." She laughed and cried at the same time, and then she said the words that would change her life forever. Yes, the wedding was a beautiful and unexpected event, unlike the lavish ceremonies of high society. Ethan wanted something that had the essence of both of them, so the ceremony took place in the village where Maya grew up, in the garden of her grandmother's house. Simple flowers, lights hanging from the trees, tables filled with homemade food, prepared by the community. Maya wore a delicate lace dress. Nothing extravagant, but it made her look like a princess. Her hair was loose, with a few natural flowers woven in. Ethan, on the other hand, wore a perfectly tailored suit, but without all the extra formality. He wanted this day to be perfect for Maya. The entire village showed up. Maya's grandmother cried like never before. The locals clapped and were moved, and when Ethan and Maya said yes, there were cheers and applause all around. It was a simple wedding, but filled with love. When it was time for the celebration, Maya noticed something unexpected. Ethan was completely at ease. He was talking to people, laughing, holding a plate full of yakisoba that she had made that morning. He didn't seem like the unreachable CEO. Everyone knew he seemed just like a man in love with his wife. Maya smiled. She never imagined her life would take this turn. But looking at Ethan there, in the village where she grew up, she realized he belonged there just as much as she did. Then, before they threw rice over the newlyweds, Ethan took Maya's hand and whispered, "Now you're officially mine forever." She smiled and replied, joking, "I hope you can handle spending the rest of your life with a stubborn cook." He laughed and kissed her again.